Welcome back, Queen, to another episode of The Creatress of Freedom. I'm so happy to be dropping on in with you today, and I'm actually really excited because I am bringing to you something that we have been busy creating in the back end of things, and this episode really is for specifically for salon owners. So tune on in, babe, because you're going to want to hear all of this juiciness that I've got for you today. So hello, I'm Annie. If you are new here, I'm so happy that you are here. Welcome. And if you are an OG, welcome back. It's so nice to hear from you and so nice to be dropping on in. And I'm celebrating you for taking some time out of your crazy busy schedule to listen on into a podcast episode that's going to raise your frequency and help you remember your own power. So let's delve into it today. So today's episode, I actually want to share with you about something new that has been created, in the back end for salon owners. So originally, I actually had this program that was only available for women that have come into my space beforehand. But if you've listened to my social media episode, you will have heard that I have pivoted and changed the way that I'm showing up and doing business. And one of the things that came through that was really clear to me was that I want to separate a little bit of the salon owner stuff and the spirituality healing stuff, because I have so many women that come into my space that want to deepen on their healing journey and their self-discovery journey and really tap into different levels of freedom. However, they're not necessarily a salon owner. And so that kind of eliminates the opportunity for them to come into my spaces. And as a result of that, that takes away my ability to be able to make an impact. And that is a huge part of one of my core values, is to make an impact. And so one thing that I've really noticed with running Evolve for the last 3 rounds now, I've run Evolve for the last 3 rounds, is that the biggest challenge that nearly every single salon owner faces could be resolved by one simple thing. By one simple thing. Like, that's it. Like, that's all you need, one simple thing. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit about this today. And I know that as a salon owner, you are somebody that has really wanted to create freedom within your business, right? Not just financial freedom, but really freedom that allows you to live life on your terms. But yet what's happening is that you're managing the day-to-day operations, and because of that, it often leaves you being tied to your business, right? And it means that whenever you go to try and step away from the business, or you try and take some time off, or you take a week off, or an unexpected family situation happens, that something is going to fall apart within the salon, whether that's staff, whether that is, I don't know, like over ordering of stock, or whether that is client complaints that aren't being handled, right? Some way or another, there has to be some kind of compromise that you have to take as a salon owner in order to take time off. So maybe you want to take a holiday, and instead of taking the full 2 weeks, you compromise and you're like, well, I'll just take 7 days, because 7 days is better than 2 weeks. When I take too much time off, things start to fall apart. And then by the time I come back, I've got to try and like put all this time and effort back into the business. Or you take time off and then the financials dips majorly. So then you come back and you hustle and you work your ass off, which defeats the purpose of you taking the time off, right? So this is what I have been noticing within the space. And the truth is that all of your problems, like 99% of your problems, literally can be solved by you having your entire manual sorted, right? And so this is what I want to talk to you about today. So I want to introduce you to FSM, which stands for the Freedom Salon Manual. And now this is a complete library of over 100 templated policies and procedures that are designed to handle your everyday operations. So with this particular program, it is an ongoing subscription where there is constantly new policies that are being added on a monthly basis for you to be able to access. And this is going to be able to help you run a smooth, streamlined, efficiency, effective salon that gives you the freedom, because the only reason you don't have the freedom is because you don't have the systems in place. And if you think about big corporations and big businesses, they have policies, they have protocols, they have systems, they have procedures from the minute that they hire someone right through to the minute of letting somebody go and everything in between. And what this does is it creates what's the word I'm looking for? Consistency. Why can I not think of that word? It creates consistency within the business, because it doesn't matter who does what. Every single service is done the same way. The phone is answered the same way. The checkout process is done the same way. The coloring of the mixing is done the same way. The cleanup at the end of the day is done the same way. And so when you go to step off the floor, you're never going to have a client come to you and say, "Oh, I prefer to go to you because you do things better." That should never happen, because you as a boss should be implementing and putting processes and policies in place that your staff do the exact same way and the exact same things that you do. The only difference should be the personality. That's it. But as for procedures and systems and the quality of services that are put out there, they should all remain the exact same. And so if you feel like you're scared to let your staff take over your clientele, then that tells me you don't have clear systems and clear processes in place to make sure that the quality is the exact same. If you feel scared to let your clients go over to a staff member that you have on, you should not be having this staff member on board, right? Because at the end of the day, your staff are extensions of you. And if you don't feel like you can trust them with your clientele, then we have an issue here and you've hired the wrong kind of people. And what it really means as well is that from a leadership point of view, it is your responsibility to train and lead staff. And I've spoken about this. There's other episodes that you can go back and listen to if you've got a team. You should not be hiring staff if you do not have the time to train them and like put in the correct protocols to help them flourish. If you are still stuck behind clients and you don't have that time to take off the floor, or you don't feel safe enough to be able to do that because your financial cash flow might dip, then you don't have enough of the processes in place, which means you should not hire staff, because it is a disservice to your clients. It's a disservice to your staff as well if you were to do that. So with FSM, why would you want to think about this? So like I said, it really allows you the opportunity to unlock true freedom, right? You started the business because you wanted to gain freedom, not because you wanted to feel chained to it. And this is something that I hear so often, is that so many business owners feel so restricted, right? They can't take the time off that they want to. They can't step away from the salon floor. They can't do what they want to do like they had hoped that they were going to be able to do. And so with FSM, the Freedom Salon Manual, you can confidently take the time off, because you know now that you have all of your salon operations that are going to run smoothly, and you don't need to be in this constant oversight, seeing things, constant dictation, constantly checking in every 5 seconds and like making sure and praying and hoping that, oh my God, I hope everything goes right this week, or, whatever that is. And a really great example that I can also share with you is one of my private clients who I've been working with for quite a few years now, but she is in the processes of she's having her second baby. And so we learned a lot from the first round of what was happening and what was not happening. and the way that her team suffered when she took that time off. And we had some things in place, but we didn't have all of the processes that she actually really needed. And so this time round, she feels so much more confident because she's inside FSM. And so she has access to all of the things that go wrong within a business. And I know this because I've been in that situation, right? I have had a salon where all of the problems have gone wrong. And if I had some kind of protocol in place, that would have eliminated what that was. And so I've been in this situation so I can help you navigate whatever those problems are. And so what we've been doing is we've been working out what is it that she actually wants to achieve. She doesn't want to be on the floor at all. So she therefore wants to really enjoy this time with Bubs when Bubs does come. And so therefore that means that we have to train up the manager. And so that doesn't just mean training up the manager to look after the staff, but that also means the manager taking over her other job roles that she would normally do. So the ordering of the stock, making sure that stock doesn't get over ordered, that it blows the budget. Making sure that the team can take care of the social media content. So from a social media aspect, well, we then need to have a protocol and a procedure and a policy, literally all three, on what does that look like, right? So what is the standard in the quality that you want to have? What is the protocol? What is the procedure? What is the policy? Do your staff have to have so much content created within a certain period of time? And then does it have to be put through to the manager for the manager to approve before it goes live? So all of these things are stepping stones to be able to allow you to take this time off. And so we're working deeply right now. And she was actually sharing with me the other day, she had her team meeting, and she was sharing that she was having a second baby, and her manager, who was with her the first time round, was like, don't worry, girls, like, I know that, you know, she's got this, because the first time round was a little bit chaotic, but they also know that she's working with me and we're putting these systems in place. And she was sharing with her team, like, I know last time round I learned so much, and this time round, like, I'm here to fully support you and make sure that you feel supported while I take time off and go and have this baby. So it really is so much bigger than just taking, you know, the time off. Another one of my clients, you know, wanted to take a 2-week trip to Bali, but was so worried that she'd have to still stay on, right? Like, air quotation marks, she'd still have to stay on with her team. But we put the policies and the systems in place so that she could completely switch off, right? She didn't have to answer any messages or anything like that. Inside FSM, there is a protocol that I've created that is a when to contact the salon owner protocol. What is urgent versus what's non-urgent. And they're all templates. So you have the ability to be able to go in and change. You know, you might not class that as urgent, so you might want to take it out. But everything is templated for you to be able to go through and have a look, right? And so this really allows your team to know what needs to happen, right? What the procedures are. I know for me, when I took a cruise, I had no service at all. And so there were a few things that like had gone wrong. And so one of the things, for example, is a client getting color on the back of their jacket. And that this shouldn't have happened, right? So the client wanted it dry cleaned or replaced. And pardon me, as a result of this, it essentially destroyed the jacket. It was bleached. And because I had a protocol in place around how to wrap up a client, that should not have happened. And because the protocol was in place, and with every policy, at the end of each policy, there's a section where your staff sign it to say that they've read it and understand the policy. And if they don't understand it, then they shouldn't sign it and they should come and ask you more questions, right? So at the end of it, you're protecting yourself so that your staff fully understand every procedure, protocol, policy, system that you put in place. And so I was able to say to my stylist, you know, you've signed this to say that you understand how to wrap up a client. So what happened here? And she's like, well, yeah, I guess I didn't wrap her up properly. And I was like, okay, so do you think that that should be the expense of the business, or do you think that that should be the expense of you? And this protected me as a business owner, right? Because she was like, well, yeah, like I said that I know how to wrap up a client, and yeah, I clearly didn't wrap up the client properly, or I didn't double check it. And so she realized that actually it probably should have been an expense on her. So the business didn't actually cop that expense because I had the protocol in place. And another example that I can share with you as well is when I did take this cruise, we had a client that came in for a complaint and wasn't happy with her hair. And so I have a refund policy in place, and my staff were able to go to the back room and flick through this manual that I've got and see what was the refund policy based on our salon. And this allowed them to take that to the client and say, this is actually our refund policy. And it didn't fit within the policy. It was like outside the terms and conditions of when you can get a refund. Another part of the policy was also that you had to allow us to fix it before you just come in and ask for money back. And the client didn't want that to happen. And another part of the policy was also that you can't go somewhere else and have your hair done by someone else and then come back to us and have us fix it. And so she didn't fit within the conditions of what our refund policy was. And so she didn't get her money back. But if I didn't have that process in place or that policy in place, I guarantee that my staff would have fretted and freaked out and panicked and probably would have given her the money back. And then that would have impacted the cash flow. So can you see how important it really is to have policies in place that really do protect you as a business owner, right? Because it's going to save you money, it's going to save you time, it's also going to save you the hiring process as well. Because to give you an example, like some of the other things that you might experience is client no-shows. Well, literally, you could solve your problems by implementing a new policy to minimize last-minute cancellations. Let's say you've got staff members that are constantly late all the time. Well, if you enforced a punctuality policy that was really clear with your staff, that would also eliminate that. Let's say you have staff that are constantly wasting product, right? And there's so much wastage is going down the drain. That's profit that the business is not being able to make. Well, if you have resources that are in place to show them what the guidelines are around usage, that's going to eliminate that. If you need to take time off and you want to make sure that your salon still operates smoothly, well, then you might need to enforce a salon policy that allows you to have like a leave procedure. Maybe another one that's coming through so much at the moment as well with my clients is the non-adherence to cancellation policies. So they have staff members, they have this policy in place about cancellations, but then the staff don't implement it. So if you implemented a systematic policy to ensure that all of your staff follow it, and if they don't, that there's consequences, then that's going to eliminate that. Yeah. Maybe you have clients that are complaining about the services or complaining about certain staff members. You could address these issues by having a appropriate feedback handling procedure, right? Literally everything that you could experience as a problem can literally be solved through FSM, like honestly. And I keep adding more and more stuff. Like, for example, one of my clients recently, she's got memberships in place, and she has a client who is refusing to pay her weekly memberships, but services have been performed, services have been rendered. So she's done her part, but the client is not paying her payments. So I was like, all right, what is your process in this? And she's like, well, I don't have one. And I was like, okay, let me make one for you. So I literally went through and I created an entire section specifically on memberships. So I literally just created one that is a membership T's and C's client form for the client to complete. I also did a staff policy one so that your staff know how to implement it. And then also a terms and conditions policy for each of the clients as well. So, like, when you guys bring me the problems, I'm like, literally everything can be solved with a policy, a procedure, a protocol. And it comes down to having the template, and then it comes down to implementing it, and then it comes down to enforcing it, right? Like, they're the three steps that have to happen. So, like I said, like, this is a huge reason why FSM needs to be like the backbone. It's the Bible of your business, essentially. So what's another reason? Well, this one was the chef's kiss on why I was able to sell my salon. And this means that you can effortlessly transition the business to new ownership, because if you decide that you ever want to sell the business, if you have a comprehensive manual that makes your salon so much more appealing to buyers that maybe also don't have any industry experience, which is exactly what happened with my salon. So when I sold my salon, I sold it to a chick who was she was working in the mines in WA, so she wasn't even local. And this was such a big selling point because I said to her, there is literally an entire manual on how this business operates. So you don't need to be here. You don't even need to have industry experience. As long as you follow what is in this manual, I promise you that you will still have a successful salon. And anyway, she didn't believe in all the processes that I'd put in place and started making her own rules and changing things. So things didn't quite go according to her plan, but that was on her because she decided to change everything that I had in place. But what I'm saying here is that this can actually allow you to access a broader market, and it can increase the value of your business when you are ready to sell, because you can literally say, here is a manual on how everything operates. You walk in, done, right? So I just want to emphasize again, like 99.9% of your salon problems will find their solutions inside FSM because they are ready to implement their policies and procedures. You don't have to spend time on creating your policies. Literally every single salon owner that I talk to, and I know, they all know they need it, right? They all know that they need to have policies and procedures. And so many of them will say to me, I just don't have the time. And I don't blame you, right? Like, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to spend my time off writing up a policy or creating a procedure or writing up a protocol. Like, your time is much more valuable, and it's so much more valuably spent with loved ones, with friends, or even just like actually taking a break and not doing more work on top of what you've already got going on. So honestly, like, FSM is going to lift all of the heavy lifting for you so that you can actually focus on what is important specifically for you. Yeah. Whatever that looks like. Maybe it is taking more time off. Maybe it is spending time with your family. Maybe it's cooking a beautiful dinner and watching a movie with your family instead of sitting behind your computer while your husband's like, how much more work are you going to do? You just worked all day in the salon and now you're continuing to work right now. Right. So let's get you some time back, and let's get you these systems and policies in place. So everything is templated for you. It literally is just a click of a button that you can edit and change and make the tweaks to suit your business. And then you literally go ahead and you can implement. So that's a little bit of the details, I guess, around what FSM is. So how does it work? So FSM is actually a annual membership is the way that we've structured this. So it means that you get access to all of the current over 100 policies and procedures right now. And then you also get access for the next 12 months of the any new policies that I create and I add at no additional charge. Okay. They're instant implementation. So you literally download, tweak to fit your unique needs, and then you implement straight away into your salon. And then as a bonus, what I've also done, because I get it that sometimes having just all of the policies can feel a little overwhelming. And sometimes it's like you don't even know where to start because, yeah, when you get in there, there's a lot, right? There's a lot. And I keep adding to it. So the other thing that I added as a bonus is a live group coaching call every single month. So one group coaching call where you can have that opportunity to come live and you can share any challenges that you might be having. You can ask me any questions. We can streamline any of the implementations that you might need help with. And you literally can pick my brain on anything that's like business related, and I will help you navigate what that looks like. Yeah. So that's kind of the details of like what you get. So you get access to an online portal where you can download everything and save yourself so much time. And then you have access as well to the new ones on top of that. And it's a monthly payment. So it's a minimum 12 months. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm giving you access to absolutely everything and allowing you the option to pay it off. And then at the end of the 12 months, you can either renew your subscription and continue to get access to the new ones that I keep adding, or you can decide, you know what, I think I've got 100 plus, I think I'm good, I don't need to add any more to my manual, and you can stop your subscription after the 12 months. So that's how the process works. So what happens now? Okay, so what you need to do now is you can come and shoot me a DM on Instagram, or if you have a look at the show notes, you will see there is a link to the program, and you can click on that link and you can go and have a read over it. If you've got questions, you can email the team, or like I said, you can come and DM me and we can go through anything that you might need some support with. But I'm super excited to bring this to the table for you because I truly believe it's going to be an absolute game changer. I know that it was such a game changer for me. 99.9% of your problems are going to be finding their solutions inside FSM. Like, get onto it, girl. This is what you need. This is going to be life-changing. I have never before offered something that is of business coaching quality at this kind of price point. So get onto it. If you've got questions, let me know. I'm super happy here to support you in whatever it is that you need. But I'm really excited because I feel like this is going to be a game changer for so many of you, because you are going to have so much structure, so much systemizing going on behind the scenes of your business. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you soon.